I've catastrophized like a champion in my time. I've said it before. Engaging my capacity for rational thought helped, but I needed something else to close the loop. I needed something else to engage a clear quality of mind. My name's Steve and I coach professional people just like you to beat stress, clear your mind and raise your game. And a great place to start is with my free, simple 5-step guide to mastering stress in the moment. In my last video, I talked about how engaging my rational mind was a key tool in getting out of the habit of always assuming the worst. And I promised I'd add to that in this video. You see, while engaging my rationality definitely helped, it didn't always work, or at least not on its own. Sometimes I just didn't have the headspace or the heart space for my more rational thoughts to have any kind of an impact. And that hit home one particular day at work when there were rumours of redundancy. And I got it into my head that if that happened to me, and I was sure it would be absolutely catastrophic. By the way, our fear of so-called negative events and our resistance to them and our exaggerated need to move away from them comes from what's called impact bias. That's the tendency of human beings to assume that events will have a greater impact on our lives for longer than they actually will. Catastrophic thinking is that ramped right up. My head was racing with terrible outcomes compounded by more terrible outcomes, and I terrified myself with the story I was creating entirely in my head. Now, I applied my rationality. I knew that I was responding emotionally to something that was entirely fabricated, not what was actually happening. But somehow, even though I knew that on an intellectual level, it didn't stop the thoughts racing around. I also knew at an intellectual level that the outcomes I was imagining were really worst case. In fact, they were beyond any reasonable worst case. It was like I was imagining the negative version of winning the lottery twice in a row. I still couldn't see out of it though. I mean, looking back on it now, I know that I was just too deeply associated with the story I was creating in my head. I was too involved with it to step outside and look at it and see it for what it is. Fortunately, I met some teachers who were able to teach me some remarkable things. How to slow down, how to clear my head, and raise the quality of mind that I was experiencing. Now, I said how to, right? The thing is though, it's not so much a doing as a not doing. Not so much a doing as a seeing. Not so much working as letting go of working. See, for as long as our thoughts are racing around and we're trying to fight thought with thought, or wrestle with thought, or trying to push or pull thought into slowing down, then it becomes like two cars racing around a track, not just one. And it's not necessarily the car of rational thought that wins. It basically becomes an inner civil war of thought. I learned a metaphor that I love. It's that you can't shake a snow globe clear. But if you just put it down and put it to rest, it will eventually clear all by itself because clear is its natural state. It's only us shaking it about that makes it unclear. Of course, it doesn't go clear instantly, it takes a little time, and it turns out our mind is a bit like that. If it doesn't seem that way, it's only because we're used to constantly shaking it up. We're used to constantly being busy up here. And even if I'm being still and quiet, but with the thought going round, why hasn't my mind calmed down yet? That's still me trying to shake it clear. Now, I don't mind admitting I struggled at first to truly slow down. But then I learned something that really helped me, and it may help you. Find a room with a comfy chair and no distractions, none. No TV, no radio, no mobile phone, no iPad, nothing. And just sit still in the dark, in the quiet. Now, I know that can be hard when you do have things running around in your head. You might feel like you want to get up and pace around. I know I did. But being mindful that what you're responding to emotionally is something entirely created in thought and not anything that's actually happening in reality. Just don't fight those thoughts, don't resist them, don't try and arrest them. Just sit still quietly and experience those thoughts like some energy that's spinning around out there that you choose not to be involved with. Like, I don't know, sitting on a park bench by a stream and watching two ducks have an argument and just sitting there not getting involved with it and get into a trance-like or meditative state. It might help to gaze into a candlelight or something like that to relax the eyes and relax the muscles around the eyes and defocus slightly and stare blankly, slowing down on the inside and breathing slowly and deeply. Now, when I started doing this, It didn't always work first time. And let's be clear, it's not that it's hard, it's just that sometimes we just can't resist shaking the snow globe just a little bit. But the more I did it, the better I got, and the more able I became to let my mind slow down, calm down and settle. And from that higher quality of mind that comes with that, I was much better able to see my thinking for what it was and listen more deeply to my inner wisdom and my more rational thinking. Now, in my experience, people who struggle with this kind of negative thinking also struggle to stop thinking about work. So to deepen and continue, watch this video here. This is Steve, wishing you health and happiness.